Just allow all of your senses to open. Mentally looking out through your eyes. Look all around and trust what you see, sense, and feel. All of your senses are open. Tell me, where are you? What do you notice?
I'm on my I'm on a ship,
You're on a ship.
and this is my ship.
Mhm.
It's
What
very
makes it your ship?
I made it. It's a part of me. We share DNA, me and the ship.
You do. Mhm.
Yeah. It's not quite my child, but not quite a pet, but more than a tool,
Mhm.
my ship. And I am just happy everyone is able to be here on it.
Yes. Who else is there with you?
Uh, Tall grays. It's my
Okay.
first time meeting them, I think,
Mhm.
in in person.
Is it? Mhm.
Yeah, we've only met not face to face before, but communicated before.
Mhm. Okay.
And it's my ship, and there's 4 million of us on it, but it doesn't matter to me that it's mine. It's everyone's. I want it to be everyone's, and everyone just to feel like they're home and
Mhm.
safe.
Yes. Mhm.
So I'm trying to play a good host.
And how do you do that?
Uh, it comes more naturally to me because I can tell what others need more. So with the ship, I just have the ship be able to tell also what they need, whether it be sustenance of a physical kind or an energetic kind. I just make sure that they have whatever it is that they need now that they're safe.
Mhm. And why
Uh,
is today so special?
it's
Why
the
are you
first.
all together?
It's the first day since we've all got on the ship that and going to Terra that we've been a little calmer.
What is Tara?
It's my where I'm taking people for it's a certain version of New Earth.
Okay.
It's
Mhm.
where I take my fleet of who I was assigned to pick up.
Mhm.
And we picked them up yesterday, and today we're going. And we don't know if we're going to stay there or yet if it's going to be there forever, if it's finished, or if we're going to live on the ship for a while.
Mhm.
So we're all just kind of getting acquainted,
Okay.
and I'm anxious but happy.
All right. So I want you to connect with yourself, with your body. Do you also have a physical body on the ship?
I can if I want to.
Mhm. And how would you show yourself to others if you manifested physically?
I like to show up right now as Becca. It's unthreatening.
Mm-hmm.
She's a happy, nice looking girl.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So it's just easiest. And I had a hard time in the body as Becca, so it'll be nice to have with like a lot of things I chose to come in with for my avatar. So it might be nice to be in my avatar for a little bit
Mm-hmm.
in like a nice space. But normally like way taller.
Mm-hmm.
Look, who's Anunnaki, so I look Sumerian. Got a long beard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What color
Um,
is your skin?
blue. I like having it blue.
You do.
hmm
Okay.
Sometimes my other siblings like to have it more of a darker color, like a root color or like an earthen color. And sometimes like the color of the nature found on earth, like a green.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the blue because I like the rivers, and that's where I choose to spend most of my time. What I was assigned with is the rivers, so I like blue.
You do.
Yeah, and that's also like my ship with the silver. It's mostly silver, but I have blue rivers of
Mm-hmm.
not quite water, but it resembles water because it's calming and it feels good and it allows me to create peace to flow through the ship too. And then all anyone has to do is stick their hand in the part of the that looks like the water to be soothed or to get whatever sort of energy from the life source equivalent of water they need. And it's just so nice. I thought of that myself.
You did.
Yeah. Oh, it makes me feel good.
Mm-hmm.
So what I like to do too when I'm overwhelmed, I just go into the part of the ship and go kind of float around the ship through the river and become one with the river. It's not
Mm-hmm.
a real river, but it's it's nice and it allows me to look at and make
Mm-hmm.
sure everything's going on and I can be one with the ship then too.
Yes.
It's really cool. I've given some other people the ability to do that too, and they're really nice about it. And I'm so appreciative.
That sounds amazing. I have a
Yeah.
question for you. So, you mentioned that you were moving some of these beings from one place to another version of New Earth. Where did you pick them up from?
Mm, from their homes, but they came to me. I didn't have to get them.
Mm-hmm.
They just materialized here when they were ready. So I would
Mm-hmm.
kind of float over them on a different dimension on top of them. And then if they want to come, they'll show up and their higher self will bring them there. So
Why would
it's
they?
just one way to transport.
I see. Why would they need to leave? Why would they want to?
All personal stuff. So I feel like I gotta move them personally because I was one of the people who made the earth, and then the earth is getting ready to heal. So, since it's healing in a lot of different ways, you'll see these in natural catastrophes. Sometimes it's better to let something heal on its own accord through its own vibrations. So, we're moving some of the additional vibrations away from it to let it rest in peace.
Mm-hmm.
So I just It's up to each individual if they feel the need to let it rest and move its vibration to a different plane, or what they want to do. It's very complicated. There's
Mm-hmm.
individual determinations for every single person who and being or entity on each plane to decide if they're going to go or stay or why. So there's infinite reasons as to why they may go or stay, but the simplest is that this plane wants to rest, and some of us are going to allow it to rest by removing ourselves from it.
Okay. Now, you mentioned that you helped make the earth. Can you tell me how you did that and who was present?
Yeah, it was like a group of us, and sometimes there'd be 4, sometimes there'd be like 8 or 9 of us. So it's interesting because as an Anunnaki, we're actually on Nuna, so we can go into the other plane of source and back. It's not all necessarily bad. It's all not, we're not a slave. I didn't enslave anybody or a slave race. So it's like we go and we go, I go to source and I get my directions, and I come back here and I just know how to live them out.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very convoluted.
Mm-hmm. How do you connect with source?
Uh, I don't know.
Okay.
I just do, like in my sleep.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mm.
So can you tell me about Terra, this new version of Earth? What does it look like?
Mhm. For now, it's mostly jungle.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things that I recognize from Earth because it's based off of Earth, but it's just a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Things grow a little more quickly. They turn blue, not only green, the colors are more prolific. Everything has more saps to it, tends to be more gourd-like than anything else. A lot of vessels and just nurturing.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling I don't tend to stay here though, that I just tend to be more of like a transport
Okay.
vehicle
Yeah.
and vessel here.
Who chose Terra?
It's a council of elders. There's about 7 or 8 of them. And they're from all over the universe.
Mm-hmm.
They all look different, but they all are the same. And I get to visit them every so often because I also follow the law of oneness. So they're the ones who chose Terra.
Mm-hmm.
And not everyone's going to Terra. So there's all these different versions of New Earth that we're all going to as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just taking specific versions of specific beings to this specific Terra.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And it's all been predestined and pre-planned.
Mm-hmm.
Who goes where, everyone just knows. So at the time, there's no person being going to an incorrect ship. You materialize where you're supposed to go. Your soul knows. And the ship is waiting for you to take you if you are going by ship.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to worry. And everyone is just very, very appreciative.
Yeah.
It's so chill. I can't, the the amount of peace and just floatiness, chillness is unbelievable. I can't believe it.
Okay. What is the goal for those that are going to be residing on Terra?
To start over
Mm-hmm.
with essentially Earth and what was propagated there. So taking the old stuff and continuing on. But my ship is just a place of like respite, essentially, giving them a place to reset without disease, to feel good, to just appreciate one another in kind of what feels like a lobby, almost like a waiting room of loveliness. And until they get to Terra, kind of like a timeout before getting to a new place. It's just really quite lovely.
It is.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's not really a mall, and it's not a cruise, not an amusement park, but it's just a Zen garden of Eden on this ship, this floating vessel.
Mm-hmm.
And we all don't feel a rush to be there. We all don't feel a rush to go home. Really, what it is, my job, I guess, is just to hold a container of contentment and peace for a little bit in this vessel while I transport.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, I know there's no such thing as time, but would you be able to convey how far in the future this might be?
It's 2.5 years for Becca,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know if this will be while she sleeps or if this will be perceived by her human body.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
But it is in 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And there's nothing to fear. It's just, so you think of a mass exodus as being chaotic and apocalyptic, but this is just so zen. It's almost boring on the ship, but no one seems to mind. they're
Yes.
just
Mm-hmm.
they're just chill and grounded and getting to know one another like a quaint. So I'm like expecting a quaint buffet to come out or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
can't believe just how nice everyone is and just getting to know each other peacefully and calmly, and there's no emotion. I've removed emotion
Mm-hmm.
for now, and I'll add it back for them when they get to Terra, but I removed it from them for now.
Okay. And when they get to Terra, will they be building structures, dwellings for themselves?
Yes, there's another team meeting them there. I
Mm-hmm.
don't really know too much about that part as of right now, because after I drop this fleet of 4 million off, I've got 4 more fleets to go pick up.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll go to 4 other versions of Terra
I see. Mm-hmm.
on different dimensional planes.
Okay.
It just is how it's decided it will be.
Mm-hmm.
And what's interesting is I'll be picking up multi-dimensional versions of other people I just picked up too. So I'm spanning dimensions as an Anuna.
All right. So let's move ahead just a little bit in time, moving ahead through your mission. Once your mission is complete and you've safely delivered all these beings to Terra, what happens next?
I go to Source
Mm-hmm.
and I absorb my plasmic body into the Ophanum throne.
What does that mean?
The third tier
Mm-hmm.
of the choir of I'm an Ophanum, known as a throne. So I go and I sit close to Source and I wait until someone would like to gain knowledge from Source. And I can take them there, whether it be the Amenti, Hall of the Amenti, or the Akashic Records. Or I'd like to act as a chariot vehicle to bring people there.
Mm-hmm.
So once I completed that mission of, I go back to, that's what I do on the other side. I allow people on the other tiers, the other choirs of angel, to access Source. I help them get through to it. They do it themselves, they just need to know how, so I help them access it. That's my
Mm-hmm.
role.
How do you do that?
I spin really fast, and then my eyes open the portal they need to see. So I open the gateway for them
Mm-hmm.
so they can ask the questions that need to be asked. I'm just below the cherubim and the seraphim.
Mm-hmm.
So like the archangels and stuff, they come and they get their messages from me because I get them from Source and they deliver them to humans.
Mm-hmm.
Same with like ETs and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm the chariot that brings them there, and I just transport them
Mm-hmm.
through arcs and portals and gateways.
Mm-hmm.
And their arcs, portals, and gateways are all different things too, but they're all different ways to access
Can you,
Source oneness.
yes, can you explain how a human being would connect to Source?
So a human being, well, mostly they just ask. It's become that easy for as humans
Mm-hmm.
because all these humans have free will to connect with their guardians. Their guardian angels are below the archangels. They're going to be the 9th tier on the choir. So a human would contact their tier, their angel, their guardian, which may not necessarily be human. It could be any race, any galactic race or tier. Could be any sort of being. And then they know how to correctly ask through Theo Phantom to the next portal to open the correct arc and gateway through the magnetic field. We essentially line up these dots almost of magnetism on my side. I kind of do it with my mind. I kind of just shift these things around in a circle and spin them fast and then boop, 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 put them into these pegs.
You do.
And it happens automatically. and I'm allowed them to enter into which specific dimensional force I judge that they need to enter into, and that their vibration is high enough to gain access to at that time. And I work on behalf of Source to judge that. And then later, let's say, as they progress and they vibrate higher, they may get in through the tier. I'll boop boop them through the different pegs and may discover that now that more pegs have actually shown up for them. So I shift them further and I spin it again and I move the pegs further. And it opens up another portal gateway arc so they can access further into Source. They don't know that this is happening on the other side. They're doing this themselves. Like it's appearing they're themselves. I'm just the mechanism on the other side, the chariot on the other side that opens, essentially. Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell me more about these tiers? How many are there? And what are the levels?
There's 9. You can read about them too in Sumerian tablets. Thoth talks about it a lot. There's the 9 choirs of angels, kind of are a direct allusion to them. So at the top would be Source. And after Source, you've got your seraphim. And they are there to honor Source and look at Source and be around Source. They don't really leave much. After the seraphim, you've cherubim. They're similar to the seraphim, where they directly honor Source too, except they're guardians too of Source and of different planes and electromagnetic fields around them. And then after that is me, the Ophan. I'm like a chariot or a throne, portal arcs. So I help people get from point A to B by pegging them through the different boop, boop, boops and their circulars.
Yes.
Yeah, I like all of the geometry, numeric sequences, Fibonacci sequences, spirals, all of that are different types of portal arcs, and each are attached to different type of portal arcs. And so the Ophanim just travel through these portal arcs and open them for you. And some of them are the arcs themselves. So that's what I am, the chariot, gateway of the Ophanim. And then after that, it's the next tier where you've got other tiers of angels, like virtues and passions. And then underneath those are when you start to get closer to humanity, like archangels, and things that we know more about, and your lower level angels and your guardian angels. They're the ones that I tend to work with a lot. I kind of like like a cabbie person. I feel like an administrative cabbie, where I like any of those lower tiers kind of come up to me and I just boop them around to where they need to go.
Okay.
They step inside of me and I encompass them and I host them and I take them to where they need to go. So sometimes even like if you want to go to another dimension, another world, I've been known to take extra special beings to other dimensions and worlds that way to travel and transport through me. You can transport through me as an actual transportation device too. So it's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it just is, though. I just tune in with the field of where they need to go. They plug it into my energy field, and I peg into the arcs and boop, 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 and we go. But it's a
Okay.
shifting of doorways. It really is. I go and I peg, and I shift into this peg, and then I shift into this peg. And it's like I have to undo all of these doorways within I'm like a circular, I'm a circle. Right now, I only have one arm to explain, I think, but it's
Mm-hmm.
like I'm covered in eyes. And I'm like 3 different rings, and I ring, and my eyes move, and I into it myself. And
Okay.
then I peg the different doorways at the same time. On a 3D consciousness, it's hard to explain because I portal through too many different pegs and whirlwinds at the same time to go to where I need to go, and then I'm there.
Mm-hmm.
So I can do this even in my 3D body too.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Can you speak a little bit more about the guardian angels that you work with? Humanity is very curious about their guardian angels and how to connect with them, and many have difficulty connecting with them, hearing them, feeling them. What would you
Mm,
say about that?
take a nap when you're not tired.
Okay.
So, like when we all sleep at night to get rest, and our human body needs a certain amount of rest. So, plan a time to sleep, not to rest, but to specifically talk to your guardian angel and have the intention not to sleep, but to speak. And you'll be surprised what'll come through for you. It'll be very quiet at first, and it'll sound exactly like your own voice. So it's very disconcerting because you don't think you're hearing it. But that's by design. Before, when the angels were showing up, at first we kept scaring everyone.
Why is that?
Oh, we didn't sound like them. That's why we kept having to say, "Be not afraid," when we showed up, because everyone kept freaking out.
Okay.
So
Mhm.
now we sound so much like you. We make ourselves sound like you, not to
Mhm.
scare you. But now they don't know that we're trying to talk to you.
Yes, yes,
So
because
it's by design. If you don't want us to sound like you can just ask and say, "I'm not afraid. I don't I would like to grow out of this programming, and it will no longer be so." Mostly plan time to listen to us at first because we're trying to reach you. We're constantly sending out different signals and signs. Uh, Music is an easy one. You hear all the time. You can just say, "Hey, at this time, I'd like my guardian angel to give me a message." Then listen to hear if you have any songs on the radio at that time in the background. Or if someone's even saying something passing by, it could be a message, but mostly asking, and not being afraid of what you hear right away, even if it's just in your own voice in the back of your mind. probably is your guardian angel just trying not to freak you out, because all of the other times when they have come to you in other voices, you've disregarded them or haven't heard them or pushed it away in a dream.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it. We come as you in your voice if you want, because that's just what's most natural and what feels good, is that it comes from yourself, which technically it does in the law of oneness
Mm-hmm.
anyway.
Thank
So
you.
just, yeah, just asking. And if you hear be not afraid, be prepared because you might see something crazy.
Okay. Yes.
Uh,
I think a lot of people are ready for that.
I think so too.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And they're going to see not with the physical eye always.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different type of seeing, a different type of awakening, different than the mental third eye, too. It's a type of claircognizant that is going to be so visceral, it'll feel like it's happening inside of you. Almost a new type of seeing, a new type of knowing that's coming online more and more in people, that it's happening to them even when they're not tapping into their third eye, even when they're doing simple things like just vacuuming. They could be living a whole nother dimensional reality right now, and they don't realize it. People right now are tapping into other dimensions and leaving this body and going to different places without realizing it. Many people who are going to go to Terra and who I will be transporting have actually already visited it mentally, even while they're already awake. Their conscious mind just doesn't realize that they're doing it. So
Mm-hmm.
we're going into a new type of mind set, a new type of experience where the fibers of our being are going to start telling us things in ways we don't remember. It's very exciting.
Yes, it is.
It's going to just feel so pleasant too, and everyone's going to be so appreciative and just so content. It's really going to be quite delightful.
Mm-hmm. How is it delightful for humans on Earth?
Mm. We have a set of tentacles essentially within us, fibrous ones that are on a different plane, a different field that we can pick things up with and move with. Humans and people have this capability to move things with the fibers of their being and essentially use them as additional limbs if they want to. But people will start to see these and use them and be able to realize that that they have these additional limbs that are in other dimensions, that simply are energy,
Mm-hmm.
that can help them form and build whatever it is that they want to build. They can do backflips without their hands, if they stand on their heads if they wanted to,
Yeah.
just by using the power of these fibers.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a different type of knowing, a different type of experience and being. It is a certain type of seer. And humans, these seers do currently exist. They've been around. Some people can do it. It's hidden knowledge and information that will come back for for people and humans to be able to tap into these electromagnetic fibrous parts of their beings. We all kind of resemble these egg-shaped fibrous beings from our heads down to our pelvis, of our like these core energy centers on that plane in that dimension. And you can unattach some of those fibers to use as additional limbs to carry you around. And so it's just going to be tapping into that fibrous dimension and being able to access and utilize those for healing, for moving, for knowledge, for whatever you'd like. The possibilities can be endless as you tap into more and more beings. And that just means for me as a chariot, I go and I have to peg more and more openings and portals to allow people to whoosh inside of, kind of like a doot doot, similar to like an old dial rotary phone.
Yes.
I open the portals up for that, and that's what's happening to the human race. I'm not the only one. There's a lot of Ophanum who are doing it. And it's
Mhm.
not just the Ophanum who open it. It's massive on many different scales and times and places. But that's my role as an Onana.
Mhm.
On the other side, as an angel on the other side.
That's beautiful.
And sources. That's how I open it up. I'm a chariot.
How does your energy influence Becca?
It's it's starting. It's really influenced her now because it was turned off before until it was time to be turned on again.
Mhm.
But now it's allowed her to portal to other places and dimensions too. But really, Becca's more of just the avatar for my Anunnaki self and my Anuna self
Mhm.
to see and experience on this plane what it would be like and what it's like for the people who will be having to transfer so that I can best cater to them when they're ready. It's more, she's kind of an interesting, not dummy experiment because she's absolutely like a real being, but just less real
Mhm.
than some of the other ones because she currently has a plasmic being, me, on this ship right now too. So she's an interesting
Yes.
avatar, but
Mhm.
she's tapped into me, which allowed her to tap into creativity again and source, which healed her endometriosis problems.
Mhm.
Literally, her divine creatrix, her womb problems.
Yes.
So it was that denial of divinity which had caused sickness before. And so I had to wake her up a little sooner than planned, but she was going to wake up anyways.
Okay.
And then we started healing her. And then when she was really started healing in her sleep as she was healing, she needed to take that time to heal and sleep a lot so she could be in the other dimensions charioting around too. So it's interesting because as she was healing her divine creatrix inside of her, it was as she was helping make the plans to heal the divine creatrix of New Earth too, one of many who's helping
Mhm.
do that. So it was a parallel experience. And that's partly why she was sick too.
Mhm.
So sick. So sick. Yeah. And that's why she's all healed and why it's a medical miracle. No one can doctors can't figure it out. How
Yes.
it's gone. It's because it's all in tune with the divine
Okay.
creatrix, and the women's wombs are directly connected to the womb of the earth too. So as you heal one, you heal the other. It's very complex in as far as getting into the idiosyncrasies of the individual and how it impacts every single person individually and how they may respond to it. But universally, it is simple in that it is all the same, in the fact that the womb impacts the earth and vice versa. So it's really interesting from that perspective.
Mhm. Yes, it is. Are you her higher self?
Yeah,
You are. Hmm.
yeah, I'm an armchair. I'm a little, even for an Anunnaki,
Okay.
a little bit of an armchair philosopher, so I like to come in a lot. Becca and
Okay.
I converse a lot. We're very, we talk a lot. I like her.
You do. Are you
Yeah.
having any other experiences here on Earth in other avatars?
She's my only avatar on Earth.
She is.
Yeah,
Hmm.
she's my only avatar right now.
Okay.
I used to do the multiple avatar thing. One's good for right now. I'm got a lot that I'm manipulating between a lot of different planets.
Hmm.
And so I like to have my one eye here. But as an Anunnaki, I can go peer into different bodies if I want to, and that's
Hmm.
been useful. But I haven't had the need to have multiple avatars, so I just have Becca
Hmm.
right now. But I'll have this avatar, I think, live to be a very old age too. I like this avatar. Sometimes I like this avatar, I should say,
Hmm.
because now that it's healthy and it is able to access, it's easier to access other dimensions in this avatar. I'd like to spend more time in it.
Hmm.
Before, I used to not spend much time in the Earth avatar just because there's a lot of limitations here
Yes.
in the body. It doesn't feel as good or as pleasant. And that's partly why I designed the ship that for when we go to be a part of water and the current of the river and feel like you're just floating and flowing gently in a current to give peace, because it doesn't always feel that way when you're in a human body. It feels heavy and it doesn't always feel like you're flowing. And that's what I enjoy most of in this body, is the feeling of floating in the river,
Hmm.
and brings me peace. Well, I made rivers, so that's partly it too. So I'm a little biased, but yeah,
Okay.
it's just delightful.
So, did Becca arrive with a plan to experience any lessons for herself?
No, she already healed the karmic lessons
She
before.
did.
She's
Hmm.
here for to help. In 2.5 years, she's preparing to help. She's yeah, she's already healed all the karmic lessons.
She has. Okay.
Hmm.
Hmm. So,
She's
what is,
just a helper.
yeah, so while she's here, what is her purpose?
the higher vibrations until she knows the next steps.
Mm-hmm.
And the next steps will keep coming to her because I talk to her often. So she'll know what it
Mm-hmm.
is. They kind of just come upon her in waves too.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I had her meet you through QHHT, that was planned because she's supposed to know this so she can better access the higher self immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And it's allowed her, doing the QHHT training has allowed her as an Ophanim to recognize that she can still do Ophanim things, even slightly, even in this level of illuminated body. If she grounds herself into the Merkaba, into the crystalline core, and opens up and pushes her river up and basically blasts a river up out of her, that base she can essentially chariot still and connect instantly to me in the Anuna and then also into the Ophanim level too.
Mm-hmm.
And that's important for the future, but
Okay.
we don't know why yet. It's
Mm-hmm.
blocked. Elders and council block because I have already revealed too much in dreams.
Okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
I can't say anything else about what she's going to do moving forward, but I think she'll like it and she'll be very satisfied that she's able to help and she'll feel very fulfilled.
Thank you. And why was I chosen as her guide?
You're very delightful and nice too. You have you have a similar kind of armchair philosopher style in that you have an in you're insatiable in your thirst to learn more,
Mm-hmm.
but not only in your thirst to learn more, but in acceptance of love, of different types of beings, and in the law of oneness too. And Becca needed that, more of that in her life, of people gently
Mm-hmm.
showing acceptance and gently showing an insatiable thirst, and that it can be gentle and with ease. It's not all apocalyptic and chaotic. Sometimes we can be held in our shadows too, and sometimes the shadow work can be gentle too. We don't always have to hurt ourselves and go the hard way. Something that I've always done as an Anunnaki is go the hard way. And so I made her go to you for a little bit of an easier way, a little bit of someone to hold, like with two hands, in like an accepting way for someone who is figuring it out based off of gut intuition and feeling, rather than having a true mentor or a leadership within a mother line or someone physical who is teaching them. So
Mm-hmm.
we thank you for providing her that gentle role. It's very important. Thank you for doing
Thank
that.
you. Thank you.
You do
My
that for many too.
yes. Mm,
You have a ship as well.
I do.
Yeah. I think you'll come to my ship. Later, I'll host you with,
I would
yeah,
love that. Okay.
yes. Yes, it will be an informal engagement
Okay.
as friends.
Mm, I love that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any, can you scan her body while we are here and just check her chakras, make sure everything is in balance while we are
Mm,
connected?
well, she's out of balance right now because of COVID. She was sick this week.
Mm-hmm.
Can get that in balance. That's no problem. She released a lot this week.
Mm-hmm.
She planned to and she wanted to, and it did. It was good. So we just got to fill it up. It's in a good fill it with one healing light.
Just tell me what you're doing. I'd love to hear about that.
I surge a river, an effort. I surge the Euphrates, and then the Nile. I just surge the river bodies through her body. And then I wrap the galactic river around her legs and her arms, her body, and bind it in health and love. And I surge the water out into each atom and cell of microcosm of her being and turn it electric blue into the light and back to white. And that's it, like a little baptism
Oh,
of
that's beautiful.
rivers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Will she feel a shift today after that?
She will. She has been feeling very floaty with the COVID too.
Mm-hmm.
And she'll continue to feel that floatiness, not necessarily a dizziness, but a floatiness as she's almost as if she's floating down a river. And
Okay.
that's good. That's okay. It's a river of love. And that's a good way to imagine herself as she falls asleep or whenever she needs to calm down.
Mm-hmm.
She already does this a little bit, but really imagining herself becoming an atom or any sort of molecule in the river and flowing through a river, through could be through her spaceship, through the earth, through the galaxies, anywhere that flows as water is important for her, and to always remember that it's in tune with emotions and that emotions are very powerful things too. And not
You-
to overlook her emotions with the river as she needs to explore that.
Thank you. Any final advice for her today?
Keep going. You're doing the right thing. You're going the right direction. And keep forgiving yourself.
Thank you.